Correspondent Allie Bradley's live in Uvalde. Allie, you were there that day. What did you see then? What are you learning now?
Yeah, then, Kelly, it's hard to go back to that day about 20 months ago. What was the first one here on scene? They didn't even have caution tape up yet. I remember just walking right up to talk to Texas DPS troopers because there was no public information officer on scene. They were still bloodied from helping the children that were being removed from that building because the scene was still very active when I arrived. That's how early I was there, Kelly. And now we're dealing with this release of this review. A lot of emotions. You just heard from the families, of course, and a lot of them are learning about this review. I mean, this report is over 500 pages. They just got it about an hour ago as well. They haven't gone through all of it, but a lot of tears and a lot of frustration as well. As you said, a lot of them are calling for legal action, some calling for new gun laws as well, something that you would expect to see after a shooting like this. Now, one of the things that we really talked about, Attorney General Garland talked about in the news conference, was about how this was a cascading failure. He just kept repeating that the law enforcement response here, Kelly, was an absolute failure. They highlighted different things like the culture of complacency with unlocked doors, the lack of training. Most of these officers that arrived on scene did not have active shooter training. Most of them had never worked in a multi-agency setting either, so they weren't familiar with working together. Another issue was that they did not establish a command center very early on. They didn't even establish command. Pete Arredondo, the school district's chief, was actually the one who was in that command post, and he didn't even have his radios. He said he wanted to be hands-free, so he was using his cell phone and using verbal commands and dealing with multiple agencies. Agencies arrived on scene here, Kelly, and they didn't know what was going on. They had transitioned under Chief Arredondo from an active shooter situation into that barricaded subject. That is what Attorney General Garland said was probably the biggest failure. That changed all the posturing, people that arrived on scene. All of that got carried on throughout the day because these individuals didn't know. Some of them thought the shooter was in custody at that point. Some of them thought that the kids were safe. There were a lot of different conflicting reports out there that were never corrected from law enforcement, conflicting issues that were leading families to believe things that weren't accurate. There were issues with families being reunited with their children. There were some children, Kelly, we're learning that were actually shot, had bullet wounds, and they were put on school buses to be transported without adequate medical screening. There was one victim that was laid outside on the ground where she passed away. We're learning all of these gruesome, really hard details here today because of this report. And again, a lot of the information that was provided from law enforcement was inaccurate. And another really big thing here, Kelly, is the Associate Attorney General also made note of this, that basically the Uvalde School District police force was operating under a kind of template, if you will. They didn't actually have a set operating procedure. They didn't have an SOP. They were just basically going by the seat of their pants out here. And the template that they had offered resources that they didn't even have available to them at Robb Elementary. So that is what the chief on site that was calling the shots was under a blanket template for how to respond to these situations. So Merrick Garland saying that one of the things that they obviously need to do is training. Training would help a lot of these different situations that we've watched unfold, a lot of these scenarios that could have been different, he says, could all really be managed by that training, Kelly. Obviously, still a lot to go through here, a lot of little pieces standing out to me because I have been, of course, in the thick of it for almost 2 years now. But it's hard to sit here and go through this and to be here with the families again nearly 2 years later and still not really have a lot of closure, right? Robb Elementary is still standing. They have not taken that building down because there are still ongoing investigations, Kelly.
Yeah, the details that we're hearing so far, absolutely maddening. Allie Bradley, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.